I'm out on the trek today. It's a lovely day for cycling. The sun is out and there's not too much wind. It's been quite a while since we had a day like that. In fact, I'm so used to the gloom, I forgot to put sun cream on. So I'll probably regret that later. No, I've been struggling with the trek lately, and I really don't understand why. I used to feel quite comfortable on this bike. And then I got the Revolt. And the Revolt is supremely comfortable for my shape and size, I suppose. And since riding the Revolt, this bike now feels uncomfortable. And that's weird, because it was comfortable enough before. Of course, everybody tells you you've got to get a bike fit, and they may be right. So bike fitting is one of those things that kind of most people tell you you've got to have. But in my day we didn't have bike fitting. We had a kind of set of measures. You know, the heel on the pedal and the elbow on the nose of the saddle should mean that your fingers touch the bars, and those kind of things. And now it's all very scientific. And some of them charge you incredible amounts of money. And so you don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad. It doesn't necessarily follow that the more money you spend, the better the bike fit. And a lot of them are trying to sell you things. It's a sales tool. So you go for your bike fit, and then they'll tell you, oh yeah, you've got 175 mil cranks, you should be riding 172.5. Ka-ching, 130 quid. And some of them are really just there to sell you a bike. So you go into the shop, say, oh, I want to buy a bike. Oh, yeah, well, we'll do a bike fit. And all they're doing is finding out which bike in their range best suits your physical. But that said, it's awfully strange. The bike I used to feel relatively comfortable on, I don't anymore. So what's the solution? I don't know. Because the other side of the coin is you can spend huge amounts of money trying things yourself. Different length of stem, different saddles, and before you know it, you spend more than a bike fit would have cost you. Oh, looks like I spoke too soon. There's the cloud building up. Somebody did say to me, if your hands are going numb, that you should take your gloves off. And I have to say, I didn't believe them. I mean, how's that going to work? I can't have been that sceptical because I'm riding without gloves today. And I'm afraid I do have to admit it is better. Hasn't cured the problem, not by any stretch. It certainly made it better. This is the Vale of Glamorgan. It is beautiful. I don't know. Whenever you ride in the Vale, you always seem to be going uphill. Of course, where I live in Bridgend isn't in the Vale. It's on the edge, but it's not in the Vale. And that's a good thing. Because otherwise, we would have had to have paid 3 times as much for a house. So I've been watching the Tour de France, and by the time you see this, obviously it'll all be over. Vinegar rode an absolutely amazing time trial and beat Pogačar by 1 minute 38 seconds. Phenomenal. And of course, as soon as a rider starts winning, people start talking about drugs. And I really do hope all the riders are clean. I'd hate to see the sport be dragged through all of that again. It should just be a sport of individual activity. It should just be a sport of individual ability. And that's why I was disappointed to see Pogačar change bikes halfway through the time trial. Because that's something I agree with Chris Froome about. I don't think we should have TT bikes. Because it's not like Formula One. I think it should be about the rider, not the technology. And you can't blame the professionals. It's their job. They've got to take everything available to make them go faster. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they shouldn't be able to change bikes due to a mechanical. What I'm saying is the team should bring their bike to the scrutineers and say, this is the bike we're riding for the tour. This is the spec, and every bike will be the same, even if we do change bikes mid-stage. I don't think you should have a bike for climbing, a bike for descending, a bike for going around corners. Maybe it's just because I'm old. When I was racing, all bikes were pretty much the same. Steel frame, 531 tubing. Some had Campag, some had Dura Ace. But that was the only difference. They all ran the same tyres, same wheels. And it meant that when I got onto the start line, it was just me against the people next to me. No technology was going to help in any way. And things like skin suits Again, I think this is the team kit, and that's what we're going to wear on every stage. And team radio is something else I'm not a fan of. You know, you do your coaching on the bus beforehand, and then the riders go and ride the stage. You make a break. You look over your shoulder to see how far people are behind you. Of course, I was primarily a track rider, so it doesn't matter where your opponent is, you can see him or her.